I gave you my heart.
Yo, what's up, guys? Back at you with another one on today. This is Noble Sports Entertainment, your home for breaking sports news and sports talk. Make sure you smash that like button. When you smash the like button, make sure you hit that subscription button, subscribe to the channel. Do not miss an upload, because on this channel, we talk sports on all levels and we talk sports, period. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into our video installment talking about quarterback Joe Burrow and year one expectations with the Cincinnati Bengals. So let's get into it. All right, guys, pretty much if you wasn't living under a rock and you got an opportunity to see this year's NFL draft, you know that the Cincinnati Bengals selected quarterback Joe Burrow out of LSU as their number one pick, and rightfully so. The type of season Joe Burrow had was phenomenal. Joe Burrow ended up completing 402 passes, attempted 527. His completion percentage was 76.3. He threw for 5,671 yards with 60 touchdowns in the air. Can you believe that? 60 touchdowns, and also only 6 interceptions on the season. Now we're talking about a quarterback that was Mr. Football in Ohio. He comes from Ohio, and he's going back home to Ohio, and I'm definitely loving the fact that he's going to be a hometown favorite with this team. But man, the weapons that this guy will have at his disposal is going to be sickening. And we're talking about some big receivers, not no little guys. We're talking about some guys that can go out there and put that work in. But first of all, I got to talk about one of the best receivers that he's going to have on the team, and that's no other than perennial Pro Bowler AJ Green. Now, we know that AJ Green has been hurt and in and out of the lineup, and AJ Green is pretty much a solid receiver. 6 out of the last 8 seasons that he has played in the NFL, he has received over 1,000 yards receiving. And then you had last season and the year before, receiver Tyler Boyd receiving back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. And this season you ended up taking T. Higgins, another big receiver at 6'4", 215 pounds, who is coming off a phenomenal season with the Clemson Tigers, who had 1,167 yards receiving and 13 touchdowns. So, man, you're talking about some weapons. And then you're not only talking about that, you're talking about the run game of Joe Mixon, who eventually the Cincinnati Bengals are going to have to pay and cash out Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is coming off 2 back-to-back seasons of 1,000 yards rushing. Joe Mixon had 1,168 yards in 2018, and then 2019 he bounced back again and had another 1,000-yard season, 1,137 yards rushing on the ground. So Joe Burrow has been given the talent and the weapons, and it's for him to be able to put it together. Now, we know that Cincinnati Bengals have been a team that's been in and out of the playoffs. The thing with the Cincinnati Bengals is just being able to win the big games. Now, I know every time these guys get on prime time or when these guys get into the playoffs, they end up losing. And that's kind of been the neck on the Cincinnati Bengals. But I tell you this, I think that Joe Burrow is definitely going to be lights out in his first season with the Cincinnati Bengals. And I think that Joe Burrow has ultimately a chance to take these guys to the postseason because the weapons is there. You got a running back that's coming off 2 back-to-back seasons of 1,000 yards in Joe Mixon. And then you got a receiving group, T. Higgins, who's coming off a 1,000-yard season in college. And then you have 2,000-yard receivers normally on the team, and Tyler Boyd and AJ Green. Now, we know that AJ Green has been hurt, but we know that AJ Green is a bad man out there on the field. And when he is playing great football, man, the dude can be spectacular catching the football. But Joe Mixon is going to have to be able to put it together. and put it together fast. Now, I don't want to put everything on Joe Mixon. I mean, not Joe Mixon. I'm sorry about that, guys. Joe Burrow, because, you know, I know sometimes guys come in and they're high picks and you expect for them to make the adjustments, but you have to understand that a quarterback has to learn the speed of the game. He has to recognize defenses, and he has to be able to read and react to things. And I definitely think that Joe Burrow is a smart enough quarterback to be able to get the job done and to be able to do it. You're talking about a guy that had one of the most impressive seasons that I've ever seen a quarterback can have in college football. Throwing 60 touchdowns is a phenomenal feat, because that is a lot of touchdowns. That means every time you got the ball in your hand, you're making something good happen out there. And I think that his playmaking ability, his ability to be able to decide where he wants to put the football at is going to be lights out, man. I think Joe Burrow is going to have a great season. And I'll say that Joe Burrow probably end up throwing from anywhere from 3,500 yards to 4,000 yards on the season. I just think that Joe Burrow is that type of talent. He's a very, very special kid, and Cincinnati has a star on their hands. Now, if he can put it together in his first season, I know a lot of Cincinnati Bengals are going to love that, because you're talking about a guy that was a backup quarterback at Ohio State, ended up from being a backup quarterback to adjusting himself and coming out to be a Heisman running back. So the lights is going to be big in Cincinnati this season for quarterback Joe Burrow. So I hope that Joe Burrow is ready for the challenge. I hope that he's ready to get it done. The expectations are going to be high because he is the #1 pick in the draft. So he has to get it done. It's vital and key for Joe Burrow to get it done for these Cincinnati Bengals. And I think that if he comes in and puts the work in, he can have a successful rookie year, and he will do his best to be able to get those Cincinnati Bengals into the postseason. But I can't wait to see what Joe Burrow is going to do. I can't wait to see how this revamped Cincinnati Bengal team is going to look in 2020. This is going to be a sight to see, and I can't wait to see what Joe Burrow is going to do. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Till next time. Peace.